to make a quick video showcasing how to make Sentinels good, essentially. So overall, for damage, these are the only things that you need for damage on any Sentinel. And this translates to any Sentinel because the Sentinel weapons you can apply to each other. The only exception would be Deconstructor Prime, but compared to the Verglass, it's kind of shit. So fired up, basically it's going to be doubling the heat damage that's on the weapon already. So if you don't have any heat mods on your weapon, fired up actually doesn't do anything. Contagious Bond has some really funny effects with enemies that die and spread their statuses. Momentous Bond is for extra damage. And also mode, obviously, so it can attack. So basically, you're going to be running viral heat. So if you don't have a Riven with crit chance, honestly, crit doesn't matter. So you can build for crit chance, so you can run Tenacious Bond, or you can have one where you're not. So my honest opinion is that if you can run Tenacious Bond, I would recommend it. Depending on the weapon, it's about an 18% DPS increase, because it's a pretty good buff for crit damage. For melee, it's not so much that it matters, especially if you're running purple shards, but that's besides the point. So the reason why, just explaining why you want to run Galvanized Chamber and Aptitude, is because even though the Sentinel cannot proc these, they can benefit from the bonuses if you proc it with your primaries. And so with that, usually I look at it as about a 4 times damage increase. So real quick, I'm just going to get my Incarnate charged, and then we're going to walk up to this side and you'll see just how fast it kills the targets. So this build. This is a non-crit build, and by the way, crit doesn't matter at all because what's killing the enemies is the heat and the cascading status effects that you get from killing enemies. And for heat status effects, crit doesn't matter unless it procs on the first heat tick. That procs as a status effect. So if you don't proc a crit on when you're proccing the first heat, it doesn't fucking matter. That's why crit damage doesn't matter on Rivens. And yeah, so. Oh, here we are. So there you can see how fast they died. It's going to be a little faster because you have Momentous Bond stacks up. So you can see here. We'll walk up. So right now, it's not benefiting from any Galvanized stacks. You see how fast it's killing them? And now we're going to proc Galvanized procs. So make sure I got Galvanized mods on my burst in real quick. I do. Okay. Just to make sure I got Galv Chamber and Aptitude. I just fucking... Here, let's spawn them in again. So you can get 4 stacks per, right? So, alright, that's plenty. That's not even maxed Galv stacks, but you can see that's an insane DPS increase. Hold up, there we go. Proc the stacks again. It's insane. So if we really wanted to showcase this against without Momentous Bond, because Momentous Bond is kind of cheating a little bit for increased damage, because you're not always going to have the insane stacks of Momentous Bond. Yep, that's fine. So we will go ahead and showcase this against non-Eximus. So let me get this. So there we go. I think we got our max stacks, basically. So boom, we just got some regular kills that you get in missions. This is without, priming the enemies or anything. So if you're using grouping, it's going to be even more insane. But yeah, so that's without any Momentous Bond stacks. If you have any Momentous Bond stacks, it's going to be massive amounts of more damage. Or if you're priming, so like, let's go ahead and like pick up like a compressor or some shit, right? Yeah, that's fine. Corrosive cold. So yeah, you prime them a little bit, and it's just so much more damage. So because we're getting those Momentous Bond, not Momentous Bond, Galvanized Aptitude extra bonus. Yeah. So, but that's any Sentinel as well. It doesn't matter which Sentinel you're running it on. Another way you can boost damage is, I just have a Vault build that's specific for this, so I will swap over to that. It has it's called Summoner's Wrath. I think it's this config. Yeah, so Summoner's Wrath is basically a universal aura that acts as a universal bane mod for Sentinels and companions and summons. So yeah, it's, you're going to take all of this damage that we're dealing on our weapon, right, and we're going to add a bane to it, essentially. It's just ridiculous. So we'll showcase that as well now. That's I'm not going to buff it at all. We'll just do regular base. So you can see that's just base damage. Obviously, I do have a Riven, and if you don't have a Riven, generally you can substitute it for more multi-shot or damage, depending on what you're running, or fire rate. Fire rate's another one that's useful. So ideally, though, if you are getting a Riven, just elaborating a little bit about the Verglass, where is it? So this could be like a non-Riven build, right? So ideally with a Riven, you want damage or multi-shot. Ideally you want damage, and the reason why you want damage is because, just for example, let's just look at my Riven values, right? I have damage on all three of these Rivens. 260, right? Oh, this one doesn't. 184, 220, right? So all damage values that you're going to be getting are going to net you more damage than Serration. And the impact of Galv Chamber and Serration without any Galvanized stacks are going to be about the same in terms of your DPS output. So basically, once you get your Galvanized stacks up, Galv Chamber is actually better than Serration, so you want to replace Serration. And you can see the multi-shot values as well. The multi-shot's better as well, but ideally you want to replace damage. And if you're running a crit mod, you need to replace another slot, so you probably want something like heat on there, right? Because we're trying to stack as much viral heat as we can. So heat, damage, and then crit chance if you are running crit. Otherwise, though, heat, damage, multi-shot is probably what I'd recommend. Or you could do heat, damage, fire rate. So though, if you aren't going to do a non-crit, so heat, damage, fire rate is probably what I would recommend for non-crit, and then heat, damage, crit chance would be for a crit build. That's my opinion. And for the negatives, it's really hard to like choose a good negative. I think negative infested is actually like the best that you could get. Obviously it's infested, but the infested are already super squishy and weak. Negative crit chance isn't bad for non-crit builds. You don't want crit damage over crit chance, because if you do proc a crit, you want it to do some damage, and if you have negative crit damage, it's going to bring you down to basically 0 crit damage. So when you do proc a crit, it's going to do nothing. So like this right here, no Riven, no nothing, right? We'll go ahead and load it up. Obviously this is with the extra universal bane from Summoner's Wrath. So you see this, no buffs, literally none. And then we can go over here. Alright, we got our procs. I'll do it one more time, just so that we can see a full kill wipe without So there you go. Also, one other thing I do want to talk about is that here, let's go here and what's a good one to do? Oh yeah, here. Let's do momentum, right? Oh no, fire. Ooh, where is it? Where's the fire rate? Arcane acceleration. So your sentinels can proc the arcanes, but they will not benefit, right? So you'll see that the Verglass is still shooting for the same amount of time, but it isn't benefiting from arcane acceleration. So you can see at the top it's proccing it, but it won't benefit. It's the same way that it can proc like Cascadia Flare, but it's not going to benefit from it. It's really weird how the Sentinel weapons work and how they can proc different arcanes. Here, I'll show us the Cascadia Flare now. Do I have anything with Flare? I don't think so. Does that Flare on it? I don't even have an Arcane on that. Where is it? Oh, okay. We'll fix this real quick. You can see it's proccing flare and acceleration at the same time. So there you go. But yeah, that's kind of basically the whole general gist. You do that, and you can make any Sentinel weapon just absolutely insane. You can run if you really do want to like go full all into the builds of buffing it. So let me actually adjust this. So right here, you run magnetic heat instead of viral heat, and then you can run nourish. So you can do this, and then do this, boom, and then now it's buffed a shit ton. You can see it's even faster. And that's with no momentous bond or nothing, right? With momentous bond and your galvanized stacks, it's like so much more damage. It's just absolutely insane. So yeah. Pretty easy, pretty chill. Oh yeah, here, let me show you against these guys. These guys are a little bit more tanky. Where are they? Exo Gokstad officers. Yeah, as you can see, even with these guys being yeah, just Veriglass is just way too strong. And you put it on any Sentinel in the game either. So you guys got no excuses to not like your Sentinels. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this was helpful. The last thing I'm going to leave off on is I'm just going to show you the build again. So this is what I run if I was running a frame with Nourish. So I wouldn't need Viral. Instead of the Riven, I would run a damage mod if you don't have a Riven. And then this is what I run for crit. And then here's for my non-crit. And same thing, just damage where the Riven currently is. So yeah, that's basically the build. Also, one thing is the reason why you run out Rifle Elementalist is it's a final multiplier to all your DOTs. So it's, basically a Bane, right? It's similar to the, not basically a Bane because it's a separate multiplier, but the ways that Banes work is similar to how status damage works. So in terms of how they multiply the damage. So there's that, and then the final little bit. Fired up, Contagious, Momentous, and Assault mode. Any Sentinel, and congrats. Top 5 KPM in the game.